All right. Hello, everybody. All right. And welcome to the Lifeboat. People, I am your host. I am Tommy. And shortly, people, we're going to be joined by some other people that are coming on. I want to welcome you to the Lifeboat Live. I'm going to be doing an interview this evening with Mr. Mark Wages. Really excited about this, people. For those of you who came over from Wages World, obviously you know this man well. But for those of us on the boat, this is going to be a new experience. It's going to be an opportunity for you to get to know Mark and find out a little bit about his past. Mark is one of us. He's in the same boat, and by that I mean Mark has struggled with and conquered addiction, and he is now living, without a shadow of a doubt, his best life, which is awesome. It's exciting to watch, and he has been a friend of the boat since literally the very first day that I went live. Mark had originally been a subscriber over on my brother's channel, Chase the Heat, and he could tell you a little bit more about that. But so the day that I went live, back in the last day of July, Mark saw the very first broadcast that I did and then reached out to me. And when you first get started and somebody reaches out and says, boy, I want to do anything I can to help, I got a lot of those emails. The really big difference was his money was exactly where his mouth was, and the man literally bent over backwards to do everything within his power to ensure that this channel has been successful, and he has stepped up to the plate in so many ways to lend assistance in every way possible. And should be getting a text from him shortly, at which point there's just going to be a split-second split while I go from right here to the two of us, and we'll be good to go. People, could somebody send a little message and tell me that you're hearing me and that everything is okay? Let me see if I've got chat enabled on this. Let's see here. There we go. Flaming Jackson. Okay, we've got Mr. Jackson. We've got Fee. We've got Hunter Haas. Hunter, good to see you, my friend. Wes, excellent. Good, look at this. We sound good. I look good. Well, I look good. Let's be really honest, though, people. Is this a great hat or what? Also, I am, as you know, recovering from the C18+1. So leaving the house to go shopping and acquire a hat like this is not something that is possible. So yes, people, this was acquired for me by somebody else, and I am happy about it. I could not be any happier about it. This is such a great thing to receive, and it's good stuff. I'm very happy. It makes me feel quite captain-like. Also, for those who were on yesterday's live feed, the safe harbors that we have been putting up went over on Facebook. People, I know how everybody feels about Facebook. That's why we're doing what we're doing. We're doing because Facebook is a cesspool. Bottom line, it's a cesspool. It's an absolute swamp of negativity. And we built us a nice little oasis in the middle of it where the big four still apply. The rules where we don't step on people. We don't beat people down, and we certainly don't do anything to hammer home the hate that's already so rampant all over social media. So that is the group is called The Lifeboat Show. There was also The Lifeboat Show over on Instagram, and a great number of people have gone over and started to get onto both platforms, which is awesome. I think we got, I don't remember what the number was, 30 or something the first day over on Facebook, and that's great, where we have a place where people can go and talk about addiction without bumming out all of the other people who think that there's something wrong with anyone who's ever been able to find themselves in that predicament. Instead of celebrating the fact that those people were successful in crawling out of that problem, there are a great number of people out there that just that don't necessarily want to believe in the fact that people can change. So we have a safe harbor when you're not on the boat that you can go to, and you can ask for support, you can ask for prayers, you can support and pray, you can do anything that you want as a way to link up with the people who are crew members on this boat, because that's huge. It really is. Bench Genetics. That look and sound great. Fantastic. And people, I just got a text, so hold on one moment. We're doing this, we're sort of winging this, so patience with me for 1 second. Okay, that's Mark Wages. Apparently Mr. Wages' daughter has strep throat and is having a very bad evening. He says that he apologizes. He may get on toward the end of this feed, but he's not going to be able to join us tonight. People, please don't leave yet. Tonight we were going to roll out some new stuff that was more of the high-tech variety to give you a look at what the changing face of this boat is going to be, because Mark has done some pretty amazing things. It looks like that will be tomorrow night at 6. Here's the exciting part, people. I have not prepared anything for a live feed, so this ought to be fun. Let's wing it. People, since we were just talking about Facebook and the negativity and the fact that there are so many people that just don't seem to support what we do, I would like to touch on a subject that I don't believe I've gotten into in a great detail that I think is important. I've gotten a number of emails from people who want to highlight things that are going on other places, not on the boat, in other places where some people have said some negative things about some of you as a group, and obviously about the captain. People, all due respect, I love every one of you, and I love interaction, I love emails, I love all of that, but I don't need those emails, and here's why. I talked to somebody the other day that said he's not a believer in God, but his theory, and it's something that I had read in a book once, and I think I even talked about it in one of the videos, was that regardless of whether or not you believe in a God or not, you're either moving closer to love or you're moving farther away from love toward hate. And he believes, in lieu of a God figure in his life, he tries to judge what he does as, am what I doing moving me forward closer to love? He says if that is the case, then he's going to continue to do it. Or is what I'm doing moving me closer to hate, farther away from love? He says if he feels that as the direction that he's going in, then he stops, and that becomes his barometer, as opposed to answering in any way to a higher power. People, number one, I respect that, and I love the fact that he can be on this channel and hear people say things like, I'm praying for you, without being offended. If anything like that offends you, you probably need to reevaluate what's going on in your life. But back to the issue that I brought up. There are some people out there that are going to say some things about me, and that's going to happen more often than you think. The more successful that this channel gets, and in lieu, right, on the same lines, the more people that we start to affect in a positive way, the more people are going to throw stones, because that's the nature, unfortunately, of this planet. The more good we're doing, the more we're going to see some ugly stuff. People don't buy into it, don't play the game. More often than not, everything that's being done is being done for no other reason than to try to get some views. We do well here, people, because the subject matter is fantastic and the audience is awesome, right? The subject matter is important. You people believe in it. You believe in it strongly. So you come here and you support one another. And that is making this boat grow. It's making it get bigger. If you don't have that, and you've got to come up with 2 videos a day, each and every day, your other option is to pick something that is very, very easy to move forward on. And I promise you, the easiest thing to move forward on is hate. And if you go to any of these channels that have taken shots at the lifeboat and at the crew of the lifeboat, don't. But if you did and you just scrolled across and looked at the headings, each and every video that decides to bag on us gets more views than every other, because we're all silly enough to go over and look at it. But what happened is, it's just another learned behavior, people. He says to himself, hey, every time I really start hating on this guy, I get more views. To create content every day. What I do, I come in front of a camera and I talk. The kind of stuff like Mark does that takes incredible amounts of preparation, right? I had the benefit of spending a very long time in a very small box. And at the time, I certainly didn't think it was beneficial. But I dove into this. This is something that I wanted to dedicate my life to. So I read everything. I had 6 libraries mailing me books. I was buying the limit that you could buy each month, which was 15, that you could legally have sent into the system. And I tried to read a book a day. No exaggeration, that was the goal, a book a day. So I prepared. I can do this. If I have to wing it, which we're doing now, I can do this because it's something that I prepared for. But if you're out there and you got a channel and you don't really have anything to talk about except hate, you need to find a new target constantly. The best part of this, people, is that this area up here, right, between the 2 ears where the gray matter hangs out, your computer, We've talked about garbage in and garbage out, right, extensively. But when you start talking about that area, you've heard the term, don't let somebody rent space in your head. People, not only are we in the head of these people who hate, we're not paying any rent. We're in there rent free. And the truth is, if you take this and you look at it, right, that's the distance between love and hate. You think I'm kidding? If you start thinking about it logically, people, when you love somebody, what do? You get up in the morning, they're your first thought, right? At the end of the day, they're your last thought all day long, right? The average person thinks about 60,000 thoughts a day, they say. So 60,000 thoughts. If 10 to 20% of them are based on the person that you love, you can't stop thinking about them. You walk by a storefront, you think, oh, those earrings would look great on my girl. Or, oh, look at those. I wish my guy wore those jeans. Or whatever the case may be. But no matter what you're doing, that love is driving and propelling every single aspect of your life, right? Okay, flip the card over, and what have you got? You got a guy that gets up in the morning, and his first thought is of the person that he hates. Throughout the day, those 60,000 thoughts, 10% or more of them are spent hating that individual. It is the exact same thing. They're occupying just as much time in that person's head. So those of you who sent emails saying, you really ought to say something back, I'm not going to do that. I'm at peace. I truthfully am. That's not a pitch. That's not a sales thing. I'm at peace. I'm completely happy with who I am. I am completely happy with what's going on here. The most difficult part of this was when someone decides to take a shot at me. People, I've been to some really bad places in my life as a drug addict, including the worst federal prisons on the planet, where people were getting carried out in body bags. And I saw violence and hate at a level that you cannot imagine. Now that I'm in the real world, none of that, really bothers me. Somebody wants to take a jab at me by saying something. People, I'm not letting that rent space in my head. I promise you. You know what rents space in my head? You people, right? What I'm doing here. The idea of saving 6 individuals and then saving 6 more. That's really all I concentrate on. And I am completely happy with that. You have my word. So you don't have to worry about coming to my defense, as much as I love that you do. I have to work on not coming to yours, because as much as I do really well with somebody that starts bagging on me, I don't do particularly well when they start bagging on the crew. And the reason is, as I've said before, in a very short period of time, I have made friends with a lot of the people here. And it's a kind of friendship that I didn't think could happen in a cyber world, right? Without eye-to-eye contact and without really getting to know somebody on a, hey, we're in the same room kind of a level. This is not something that I ever anticipated happening. So I'm left in a situation where when somebody talks bad about the crew, yeah, that gets my dander up. I'm not going to lie to you. That's a difficult thing for me. But I'm going to commit to you people that I'm going to be the big boy in the room, and I'm not going to let that bother me. And I would like the same commitment from you. I would like you people to commit to the fact that we're just not buying into hate. It does not get us any closer to love. It doesn't get us any closer to the Creator, if you believe in a God. Nothing benefits us when we start going down that road, right? Quite simply, we don't. Now, along the same lines, people, some of the debates that have been raging concerning the disease versus not disease thing, I think we can put it to bed, right? I get a lot of emails now from people that want to argue both sides of that equation. There's no need to argue both sides of that equation, people. What we can do is agree to, we could call it an ailment, we could call it an affliction, we could call it a bad habit, we can call it whatever you want, as long as you're understanding the concept. And one of the things that, we got the name The Boat. I didn't come up with this, but I did say on a video that we're all in the same boat, people. And my brother Johnny was actually the one that left a comment that said, wow, Chase the Heat's got a bus, apparently you guys have a boat, which I thought was pretty cool, and it sort of went from there. And then the lifeboat name you guys picked. But people, the reason that I say we're all in the same boat, I'll get an email of somebody that says, boy, could you talk about this particular addiction? And I'm going to get to all of them. I'm going to get to all of them 50 times, people. We're going to be here a long time. But the important thing to remember is this. The reason I say we're all in the same boat, and the reason that we can put the disease thing to bed and just let it go, is because there's 2 levels, right, to addiction. There are two things going on in every single addiction. We could pick any randomly off the top of the hat, the captain's hat. Let's talk about gambling. I live in the state of Nevada. Gambling is something that you see at 7-Eleven, right? You see it in Denny's. You can't go anywhere that doesn't have a slot machine or a video poker machine in there. It's just a very serious, ingrained part of the culture where I live. So let's talk about gambling. If you go and you put a bet on a football game or a horse race or a card, right? The turn of the card. As you're waiting for that next card to come down, as the dealer is shuffling in blackjack, there's an adrenaline rush for the gambler, right? That is the first layer of the addiction model, right? That's the first thing that you think of. They're addicted to that rush. They're addicted to the, am I about to lose all of this money or am I about to double all of this money? That's the first thing. That's what brings somebody in. The second thing, people, and what makes us all in the same boat and makes us all unique, is that in our brain we got a problem. The problem is that chemicals that originally were designed to protect us and keep us alive get released at the wrong time. That's really what's going on, right? So normally a chemical that would, going back to the dawn of man, you went out and you hunted and you brought back food for the family. That release of chemical went out into your brain and said, everything is okay. You're doing great, right? You're gonna survive. You built a fire to take care of the family, keep everybody warm. Those chemicals got released into the brain. You're doing fine. Everything is okay. We're gonna be good, right? Okay, somewhere along the line, for those of us in this boat, that switch started going off at the wrong time. So you pull that lever, right, and the wheels turn. Not only are you getting the rush of, am I gonna hit a jackpot or am I gonna lose this? The second thing that happens is, now you're left with a flush of chemicals that says, Tommy, you're doing the right thing. What you're doing is going to save us. What you're doing is going to make us safe. That's what those chemicals originally were supposed to do in our brain. But for those of us all in the same boat, the switch gets thrown at the wrong time, and we actually get rewarded for behaviors that are killing us. Spiritually, emotionally, physically, killing us. Okay? So it doesn't matter whether you're a gambler or you eat, right? If your addiction is that you eat for comfort, or you have an eating disorder where you can't seem to stop. Same thing, people. You eat chocolate and you go, oh, that tastes good, right? There's the comfort food. It tastes so fantastic. And then at the same time, what happens? That switch gets thrown. And once again, your body is saying, boy, you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. Keep eating that chocolate. This is the second phase of the process, and all of us share it. We're all in the same boat. Doesn't matter what your habit is. You could be a workaholic. You're in the same boat as the alcoholic. Something in your head is throwing a switch when it is not supposed to. If you do not want to call that a disease, you don't have to. You can call it a mistake. You can call it a misfortune, right? I think it's interesting if you ever go and look up the term disease and see what the definition is, because I think that it's germane. I'm not gonna do that because I don't want to argue the point. What I want to do is make everybody realize that no matter what we call it, we're getting down to semantics. You can call it anything you like. What's going on is there is a reward aspect going on in the brain that most assuredly should not be going on. And it doesn't happen to everybody, but it happens to me, right? In a big way, it happens to me. How you can stand at the front door of a bank and put your hand on the door to pull that door open and walk in and say, I'm going to rob this place. I'm going to tell the person behind the counter I want all the money. And have a chemical in your brain tell you that that's okay. That's not normal, people. That's not normal. And when people say, oh, well, it's a matter of willpower. People, trust me, if it was a matter of willpower, I would be talking to you about something else. You people aren't here because you don't have willpower. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it's one of those things that only could be uttered by somebody who doesn't get that switch thrown in their head. You understand? If you don't have the same issue that we have, then you sit and you watch somebody that drinks and goes, why can't the guy cut off at 4 beers? What a weakling. Why can't he stop? It's because he's weak. Because he doesn't have any willpower. The reason that I ever brought up the disease thing in the beginning wasn't to cause debate or division. It was because if we think about it in terms of what it is, which is something that afflicts certain individuals and then skips over others, when we think about it in those terms, you stop thinking of the person as a loser. You start thinking of the person as somebody that has a genetic anomaly that is making it very difficult for them to do the simplest of things, to say no. Right? I mean, that's it. But if you don't have that switch thrown in your head, then that's not something that you can wrap your brain around. To the normal person, we're just weak. We're weak. So when you start to think of it in terms of an ailment, truthfully an ailment, maybe we can switch the mindset of the people in the world. I'm not going to bail everybody out. I'm not going to say, oh, you didn't do anything wrong. You got a disease. I did a lot wrong, people. I did everything wrong. I hurt people along the way. I lied. I stole. I robbed banks. I mean, I don't know how much more you can get off of the tracks than to be a bank robber. I mean, looking back on it now, people, it's hard to align the person that you're listening to and the person who did that stuff. It is literally as foreign to me as it is to you, right? You think about that and you go, man, how does a guy get that far gone? I'm sitting here going, yeah, how does a guy get that far gone? Because there's a switch that got thrown in my head that told me that what I was doing was the right thing to do. It was giving me a reward chemical and saying, what you're doing is good, right? That's messed up. I think we can all agree on that. But if you think about it in those terms, so our on a subconscious level, we're literally hearing, you're going to die if you don't drink more of that. You're going to die if you don't snort more of that. You're going to die if you don't inject this. Bizarre? Yeah, but that's what's going on. So, when I say that it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, and it doesn't matter whether you're a Muslim or a Christian or you're an atheist, none of that matters, because the second part of that addictive process is shared by everybody on this boat, right? That's the part that releases the feel-good chemicals. Now, is every addiction different? You betcha. You betcha. The person eating chocolate and the person sticking a needle in their arm definitely have two very different symptoms of what's going on. And one is, on the surface, to look at, very much more extreme than the other. But what's going on inside the dome, after the chemical part, you take that out of the equation, it's all the same stuff. Whether you're pulling that handle, whether you're going to Pornhub, or whatever it is that you're doing it for a reason. And it's not just the first phase of that process. You're not doing it just to look at naked people doing it. You're not. You're doing it because it is fulfilling a need, and that in your brain, that chemical gets released. And we reinforce that, unfortunately. That is something that everybody in this boat, we do it by accident, but we do it. If you talk to anybody that was addicted to drugs for a long enough period of time and you say, hey, did you have a ritual? Did you have a routine? That routine, that ritual becomes so ingrained in us, and we've talked about this in earlier videos, so if you haven't seen this, if alcoholics, very oftentimes, they crack the first one, and when the top comes off of the bottle, the chemicals get released in the brain already. The brain doesn't think you're going to crack that bottle and set it down and walk away. The brain is pretty convinced that the second you crack that thing, you're going to start pounding it. Or when it hits your lips, it's so good. When it hits your lips. I'm sorry. That's a reference from a movie. I apologize. But literally, when the liquid hits the lips and that first taste happens, that sends the message to the brain, and the brain goes boom and releases those chemicals. That's why you can watch people who literally are shaking because they need the next drink. They drink it steady as a rock. You think that first drink got them intoxicated? You think that first drink took away the DTs? Or if you're a drug addict, you see the car pull into the parking lot to bring you the drugs you're buying, and instantly there's that rush of chemicals where you go, I'm okay. You're shaking, almost vomiting, because you need that fix. But when you get it in your hand and you hold it, right? We can go back to the house before we do this, I'm all right. 30 seconds earlier, it had to happen. It had to happen right then. These things can be explained. These are not phenomenon that are magic. These are not phenomenon that don't make sense. They only don't make sense, people, for two situations. One, obviously, if you're not in this boat, none of this is going to make a tremendous amount of sense to you. And the other is, if you choose to look at this thing like you're not in the boat. There are people who do not want to believe that there's anything wrong with them. So they convinced themselves, for a lot of reasons, that, man, I didn't put my foot down. They like that as a concept. And do you know why? Because if I can get sober, I can try again. Right? If I can quit drinking for, say, 2 months, the next time I drink, it's nothing but beer. I'm not doing hard alcohol again. And there are a lot of alcoholics listening to me right now that have gone down this road. Oh, if I just switch from this alcohol to that alcohol, if I stop drinking hard booze and go to wine, I'll be fine. If you're familiar with the band Guns N' Roses, there is a book written by the gentleman who played bass for them, Duff McKagan. If you've ever watched The Simpsons, the character that drinks beer, Duff Man, is actually, they got the name for him from Duff McKagan. Duff McKagan was drinking, you can read his book, people, I'm not making this up. They said that he was drinking 48 cans of beer on a day-to-day basis. 2 cases of beer a day. Could not stop. In fact, what happened is Matt Groening, the gentleman that is the brains behind The Simpsons, got backstage passes to a concert. And he went and watched Duff McKagan do this. And he was just absolutely astounded that the man would crack a beer, drink it, set it down. Crack a beer, drink it, set it down. And never stop. And he went up to him and said, you know, would you be offended if I were to name the beer character, the mascot of the beer company, after you? So Duff said, no, not at all. In the book it said years later, somebody said to him, yeah, it's pretty funny, he named that after you. And Duff McKagan said, what makes you think he named it after me? No memory of it at all. Watching The Simpsons all the time, not realizing that, yeah, the guy named it after you. Well, he went to a doctor, and the doctor said to him, you have got to quit drinking 2 cases of beer a day. He moved to hard liquor, went from hard liquor to wine, and in his book, he said at the very end he was drinking 12 bottles of red wine a day. I don't know if you can wrap your brain around that, people, but he was drinking 12 bottles of red wine a day. This is somebody who at no point in all of the time that he was drinking was there any form of intervention. This was a guy that wanted to believe that no matter how much evidence to the contrary, he could control this. It was just a matter of time before he found the magic bullet to where, I got this under control, people. Don't worry about it. I got this. And it doesn't hurt when you've got, $6-8 million in your checking account. He was able to continually do this until eventually he blew up his pancreas from drinking. And now, just to survive, he has to get hooked up to a dialysis machine each and every day of his life for the rest of his life. But it's a pretty simple concept, people. We're in the same boat because the second part of the addictive process is shared by each and every person on this boat. There's no getting around that. It is quite simply a fact. Right? It is what it is. So, just to recap, it doesn't matter what you call it, people. I'm not going to sit and debate this because I don't want to argue with any of you. I really don't. And it's not affecting me, and it's not affecting the message. It doesn't matter what I call it. If it makes you people happier, I will never say the disease of addiction again, because it's not going to change what we're doing. It isn't. I would like you to realize that there is something going on in the body of the addict that is not going on in the other people's body. Call it whatever you want, because the word disease is a stumbling block for a lot of people. I don't want stumbling blocks. I don't want that to happen to anybody. So I'll stop saying that. But I'm not going to allow you to say things like, if the person just tried harder. I'm not going to allow you to take the outside world's view of us and bring it onto the boat, because it doesn't make any sense. We all know better. We all know better. People, if it was just a matter of putting your foot down and saying, I'm not going to do this anymore, do you think there would be a need for this boat? Right? Obviously, it is not that simple. And the reason it's not that simple is because something different is happening inside the brain of an addict that is just not happening inside anyone else's brain. Now, people, had the live feed gone up with Mark today, there were a couple of surprises that we were going to be rolling out. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what they are, because I would still like very much for this to be something that you guys experience as a bit of a surprise. But I will tell you that Mark has been busy helping to change the boat. Before you panic in any way, the mission of the boat will never change. In fact, the nuts and bolts stuff will never change. But we're getting close, people, to monetizing this. And when that happens, we become a product. We're no longer just a boat. In terms of the eyes of YouTube, we're most assuredly a product that they're going to try to make money on. That's good for us, because it means that they're going to push this vessel to every nook and cranny on this planet, trying to see if they can make money on it. So in doing that, we're going to be able to reach a lot more people that need to hear the message. However, it doesn't matter how good the message is, and it doesn't matter how fantastic the community is. What we have going for us, people, that is the ace in the hole, is the community, right? The message is the message. Obviously, it's important, but the community that you people have built and the positive energy that you people bring to this boat every single day astounds people. Do you know the number of emails I get from people that say, man, I saw one of your videos. Boy, your comment section is just incredible. The number of people who showed up, especially in the days where we were getting 80 to 100 views, and that was about it, and we were getting 120 comments. Most people who are YouTubers can't wrap their brain around that. It doesn't happen. I promise you, it just doesn't. It's very, very unique, and it's very unique to this boat, and to you. You people have made that happen. But no matter how great the community is, and no matter how good and important the message is, if the box that we put it in is disgusting, we're not particularly polished, we're not going to reach the masses the way that we want to. I have admitted wholeheartedly that that's a skill I just lack. Right? I can sit here and talk to you, and I enjoy it. It is most assuredly what I want to do for the rest of my life. However, taking this and making it look more professional so that people click on and get to hear the message. It doesn't matter how great the message is if nobody sees it. We're really not doing a whole lot of good. So tomorrow night at 6, and he did assure me, unless I got another text here. Yes, tomorrow night at 6, we are good to go. So, with that being said, at that point you're going to see some of the polish and some of the new look of the boat. Never quit quitting. Yes, for people that have not had a chance to get over to Facebook, so I know some of you don't use Facebook at all. Over there is an image of the first T-shirt. So if you do not get to Facebook, then feel free to drop me an email. I believe Beth already did. Is it Beth? I think it was Beth. Sent me an email and said, I don't mess with Facebook. Can you send me the image of what the T-shirt looks like? And I can do that. You know what? I wonder if I could pull it up on here and make this look right. I might not be able to, but we'll give this a try. We're gonna wing this. What do you think? But it is the Saigon Cinnamon shirt. I insist that from now until the end of time, it will be referred to as the Saigon Cinnamon shirt, since it was Saigon that came up with the phrase that ends up on the T-shirt. Let's see here. Where are we at? I know it's here somewhere. And those should be available by the 1st of October, people. So by the 1st of October, everybody can be placing orders for these. If you were not here the other night when we discussed sort of the fact that they're going to be limited. I'm not going to make one design of shirt and keep it forever. And the reason is I want it to be something that is exclusive. Let's see if we can... that's probably not going to be the best look. There we go. Can you see that at all, people? No, it's not doing it any justice. All right, you're going to have to email me. It says "Never Quit Quitting" on the shirt, and on the sleeve it says "The Lifeboat." Right, directly underneath the lifeboat it says "Crew." Crew is in a different color. The lifeboat is in dark blue. It's a white T-shirt. The lifeboat is in like a navy blue, a little bit darker than a navy blue. The letters on the front are also in navy blue, where it says "Never Quit Quitting," but Crew is in red. And it is a really, really good looking shirt. One of them will not say Crew. Yeah, I need one that says Captain, people. I think that'll be important. Of course, mine will also need a collar. I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's if you missed the first live feed where we discussed the fact that these are not going to be available forever. I'm not going to do it that way. I want some exclusivity. I want in 5 years' time for all of the people who put in the time and effort to grow with the growing pains, like when I did a live feed and couldn't get it up, couldn't get the live feed to go, or any of the other 15 or 16 things that I've done so far that were just awful. There's been growing pains, and there's going to be growing pains. And the fact that you people have stuck around and not just stuck around, but propped me up. When you have a really bad day doing something like this, it's not like other things. You have a bad day at work, there's not usually 600 or 700 people that know about it, or 1,500 people that know about it, or whatever the case may be. And if you go to other channels, I've said this before, I've gone to other channels. Watch what happens when something goes wrong, and the comment section just, the evil comes out, and those people like to show up and tell you just how bad you did, and crack jokes at your expense. You could not find a comment from anyone that was not supportive. Hey, you know what, Captain? Don't worry about it. You're going to get this right. YouTube's been a little wonky lately. It was just one positive thing after another, and that deserves something. It really does. So it deserves some exclusivity. If you order one of the shirts, when the next batch comes out, the people that ordered the first batch get first right of refusal. If you do not want a shirt, you will tell us that, and that shirt that we're holding for you will get sold. If you want it, you can continue to go that route forever. We're also going to do something else unique. If you are a member of this crew and you do not live in the United States of America, you get tattooed on the price of shipping. It's just one of those things. I mean, we watched it in the Pepper community where you got a $27 product that cost you $95, or $100 to ship. Sort of takes a lot of the fun out of what we're doing. So people outside the United States are going to pay a little less for the shirts, so that where the boat is offsetting a little bit of the shipping for those people. I'm also going to work my tail off to find out who the cheapest possible shipping is. And on top of that, since we're a community to beat all communities, let's say we've got somebody in Australia that is going to order a shirt, right? We've got a bunch of people from Australia. So if we can get one person to say, look, I'll be the hub, you can send 7 shirts to me, it's going to offset that cost of shipping considerably if we put it all in one box, as opposed to trying to send this out to a bunch of people. That's nuts and bolts stuff. I just want you to know that we're looking out, that it's a constant goal here to ensure that we are looking out. And people, that puts us at about 3/4 of the way through this. I'm actually going to let you people ask some questions, since Mark is not available. And our thoughts and prayers are with his daughter. Here's the good news. She has a very sore throat. It is not anything other than strep throat. With this particular ailment that's going around, the old C17+2, it's frightening when someone's throat gets sore, because that's one of the symptoms. Not an issue. She has been to the doctor. Mark had the test done, and she has strep throat, but it's fairly vicious. And being the great guy he is taking care of his daughter, which is awesome. That's what he's supposed to do. It's far more important than coming on here and doing a live feed with me. But tomorrow night he will be here, and he will show you what the boat is looking like, because it is definitely going to be looking different. So, if there are any questions here. Your third week was close to failing. Bought a 6-pack of beer. Oh, something, people, real quickly. I was going through some comments, looking at some of the live feed comments. They go up quick. They go up about this big, and they're kind of difficult to get a beat on unless I'm doing this, and no one wants to see me this close up. But I got a chance to look through them after the fact, and I saw a couple of comments that I really got to answer to. You can't really go back and answer those because of how they scroll up. It's not an option for me to weigh in on it. But I saw a comment from someone that said that their dealer was reaching out to them, basically to try to get them to start buying product again. And product is just a great euphemism for drugs, isn't it? She was trying to get them to buy poison again. People, this is something that's going to happen. When I quit doing heroin, there was a dealer out there that lost $300 to $600 a day. That someone would like to get that back. And, the usual gamut is, hey, you want a couple of days for free? Is this a money thing? It's a lot more difficult to turn down when someone's offering you something for free. I'm going to give you a piece of advice that works beautifully, really beautifully. The best way, no joke, honestly, if you got someone else who's still in the life, I have a friend who did this as a way to quit. If you've got someone else who's still in the life, call him and say, do me a favor, just call the guy and tell him you think I'm hot, right? which is a term that basically means you think the person has been arrested or is in trouble. If somebody gets arrested, no drug dealer ever wants to talk to them again. Because once you've been arrested, they have to assume you're going to cut a deal to try to get out of the trouble that you're in. And that is usually what happens. So start the rumor. No one's going to come and kill you. You're not saying you're a rat. Just have somebody say you think that hey, yeah, I heard he got busted. You might not want to talk to the guy. From what I understand, he got arrested. That's it. Those people are not going to want to talk to you. And it's a great way to burn a dealer. And it's burning a bridge, right? I think most people have heard this 1,000 times, but it's such a great illustration for the kind of things we're talking about. When Cortez sailed and brought all the boats to and landed and everybody went to shore, he said, all right, burn them, right? Burn the boats, set fire to them. And, they were in shock. We're going to do what? You're going to burn the boats. And they said, why? Because the first time it rains, people are going to go, man, I hate it here. Let's go home. The first time anything bad happened, you were going to have mutiny. You were going to have everybody there going, let's get back on those boats. This place stinks. I'm not hanging out here. Did you realize they've got wild animals and there are savages and there's all of these? The first sign of anything that didn't look like civilized society to them, and they were going to run. Burn your bridges. Burn your boats. If your drug dealer is calling you, get a rumor started that you have been arrested. That's all you got to say. I promise you. Because if you knew how many times I did get arrested, right? And then would get out and have to have my friends score for 2 months because no one was going to talk to me. They just assume that the next phone call you make is going to be the one where you're wearing a wire. So I saw that comment. I hate it. I hate the fact that you got to live with that. But yeah, get a couple of friends or just say to the guy, you can call it when he calls you, just go, hey, yeah, you know what, man, I got arrested. So I've been trying to not call you because I know there's a little heat on me, and then call him back like 45 minutes later and go, hey, maybe I changed my mind. Watch how fast that guy never calls you again. For real. It's a great way to eliminate that as a problem. Another comment that I saw, what was the other one that really jumped? Oh, there was a comment from a guy that said he's been drinking for 5 years. And he considers himself an alcoholic, right? So he has been abusively drinking for at least 5 years. And his concern was, would he ever be able to get back the brain that he had prior to being that much of a user? It's going to take 14 days. This is the science for alcohol. The science is far more studied for alcohol than it has been for other drugs up to this point. But what they say is that 14 days after you quit, the brain chemistry will be realigned back to, or at least start the process. I'm sorry. Don't want to misquote this. That is when you're in the game. At that point, your brain is starting to fire correctly. That doesn't mean you're not going to have cravings, and it doesn't mean that there aren't going to be some residual stuff. But will you get it all back? You bet. You bet. You would not believe how resilient our brains are. Now, that being said, there are drugs out there that are far more abusive to the gray matter. And you can Google this, people. This is really easy stuff to research. And it's fascinating stuff. I don't want to come on here and show pictures of brains that have been dissected, but I can tell you it's not easy. I mean, it's not hard, rather, to find. So go out there and look at images, and you can see they'll show you a brain of somebody who was a long-term cocaine user. They'll show you a brain of somebody that was a long-term alcoholic, and all of them, all the way down the line. And the one that will scare the hell out of you will be meth. The brain for crystal meth. With alcohol, there is shading, right? It's not the beautiful light gray color that you normally see. It starts to get dark patches, and this is a lifetime of drinking. With cocaine, you got things that almost look like spider webs. There are these small little veins that basically look like there are spider webs all over the outside of the brain. But when you get down the line to meth, it looks like a worm has eaten its way into holes and then back out. There are literally holes that develop in the gray matter. And you hear all the time people go, well, you only use 5% of your brain. So if you're out there cooking it, people, you can't say to the brain, do me a favor, just get damaged in the part I'm not using, right? Do me a favor, damage that 95% that I'm not really doing anything with, because that would be better for me. Once you start damaging the brain, people, there's no telling where you're going to damage it. One of the reasons that I felt compelled to do this is because the number of people I know who have done what I've done for the length of time that I've done, I'm not bragging, people, in any way, shape, or form, because I didn't do anything to earn this. I'm just stating a fact. If you run into people that have done 25 years or 30 years of really hard drug abuse, the ability to carry on a conversation, much less the ability to speak for an hour or whatever the case may be, without really losing your train of thought, without constantly finding yourself going, what was I just saying? It doesn't exist. It really doesn't. The amount of damage that gets done. You ever heard Ozzy Osbourne talk? Right? I'm not trying to be mean to Ozzy, but it really is, a situation where over time you're damaging the heck out of yourself. And I'm blessed that I could still carry on a conversation. It's one of the things that sort of that drove me in this direction. I felt, I'm not trying to preach to anybody, I really am not, but for the first 45 years of my life, I abused drugs, right? Once I was old enough to start, I was on it. So once I got sober, I kind of felt like this is something that I had to do. It was something that, I really believed that this was a calling. This was a higher power calling. I'm not trying to freak anybody out, but I'm not. But this is definitely something that I feel like I have to do this. I believe that I'm going to face my maker. And when I do, I don't want to say to him, I didn't do anything with the first 45 years of my life. I would like to sort of say, I took all of that wasted time from the first 48 years of my life, and then I went the other way. I decided that I was going to take that and try to do something good with it. There's a great expression that it takes a thief to catch a thief. If you want to be able to do something within this realm, it really kind of helps if you can say to somebody, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I did an interview with somebody today who I am going to be doing an interview live for you people. So I won't tell you who it is or too much detail, but great woman, fantastic woman. And her drug of choice was opiates, right? She was a heroin addict. And there was just an instant, she didn't need to explain certain things. And she was talking about certain phenomenon that, she was talking about, like when you scrape out the inside. When you smoke heroin, you do it on tin foil, usually through a straw. Straw can be made of anything thicker than like a McDonald's straw, so it's often pens or first thing you can grab because you're in a hurry. And then the stuff that gathers on the inside looks like sand, but it is actually stronger than the heroin. It's just like a distilled product of it. And she was talking about scraping that, and I said, boy, how many times did you sit and smoke plastic and think to yourself, what kind of damage was it? And she just chuckled and said, yeah, I hadn't thought about that in years. And it was funny too, people, that as we both started talking, I looked down at one point and I was going like this, and I looked over to, we were doing this on a video chat, and I looked over and she was going like this. It's amazing how fast your brain can bring you back to a place where, as opposed to doing this one like you want to fix, it was just discomfort. You could see that both of us were talking about two individuals who are dead. They're so long gone and not a part of who we are or what we are anymore. And it was, truthfully, it was amazing. I am really looking forward to getting that interview up. You guys will probably see it next week. There are going to be a lot more interviews. I got, I think 4 or 5 emails from people that said they would be willing to tell their story and do it on, in front of everyone. I'm not pressuring anybody to do that. It is, I'm not going to lie to you people, it is probably the biggest gift that you could ever give to the community, would be to come here and say, I got through this. I did it. Because there is sometimes, honestly, people, the only thing that someone needs is to see someone like themselves and go, oh my gosh, if they can do that, I can do that. That is one of the biggest gifts that you can give as a recovering addict, is to let people know it's possible. It really is the most important thing. So if you're comfortable doing that, shoot me an email. People, I must have 9 emails. The name of the channel changed a few times before we settled on the boat. Please send the emails to Captain Tommy Scoville. I'll say it again, Captain Tommy Scoville. That way I don't miss an email and you don't think I'm a jerk. I've got so many different emails that are filling up. I'm not complaining by any stretch. I want you to know that. I want more emails. I want to get to the point where, the number that I have requires me hiring somebody to help. That would be fantastic. It means that we're getting where we want to be. But at least help me stay organized, people, because I'm still working. So if you could send all emails to Captain Tommy Scoville at gmail.com, I will get them faster and I will respond to them faster. I also want to thank all of the people that I gave a wrench to without asking. I realized that when I was getting the live feed up the other night, it occurred to me that, I actually didn't have any moderators. And it was, if you've ever been in the back of any one of these YouTube channels and tried to do the moderator thing, as high-tech as some of the stuff is, that is the worst system. People, you actually have to go click on a person, do the cut, paste, come back over, load them in, and then go do it again. It's not like they list all the people and you can just cruise through it and click, 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 click. It is an awful, awful system. But I'm very happy that I got a good crew of people put together. Mark has the greatest group of people ever that are working and taking care of him as moderators. I go over to his channel and I am absolutely astounded at how well those people do. I have faith that we're going to get there as well. People, I cannot begin to tell you how proud I am to wear this hat. I realize it's silly, but metaphorically speaking, I cannot tell you just how proud I am to be here and doing this. And I wasn't on day one. I really wasn't. I liked the concept of what I was doing, and I liked the fact that there was a chance that I was going to be helping people, and that meant a lot to me. But as the crew started to come on board this boat, and as I started to see, my hat is awesome. Thank you, Fee. As I started to see the people who were assembling on this boat, there was a humbling. It was a humbling experience to realize that you come here every day and you listen and you support, and I understand, where I've heard other YouTubers go in different directions on this. It definitely, for the wrong personality, Charlie Mullins, I love you, brother. If in the wrong hands, I could see where this would really ruin a person. I could see where a person could become an egomaniac. I've seen so many hosts that don't talk to the audience. They treat them like garbage. Like they're somehow lucky that man is going to come out here and grace you with his voice and take the time to talk to you. People, if you've never seen the video that I do where I say I'm lucky, I really need you to look at that at some point. If you've ever been in the comment section and you've seen somebody say to me, hey, you're lucky, and you didn't understand where that came from, I said back in the beginning, I would like to be reminded as often as possible of just the fact that I'm lucky. I really am. The fact that you come here every day and that you leave comments and that you smash the thumbs up button, it's humbling, and I really feel like I'm a passenger on this boat as much as you all are, and I feel blessed that you people have assembled such a fantastic group of people, and you let me play captain. That is just I'm the luckiest guy on all of YouTube, but I would like to be reminded of that. It's not something that I want to ever forget. Jamie Lindsay's been drinking for 16 years. You know what, people? It's the number of people here who are in both directions. People who have been abusing drugs for 2 decades and people who have been sober for 2 decades. The beautiful thing, people, if you were here earlier on, we're all in the same boat. We really do all share the same thing, the same experience. We've all been there, and because of that, we all care, and we're all willing to do whatever we can to help everybody get sober. It's and not just get sober, people. This is something that you're going to see a lot of as the boat gathers momentum, and as we really start trucking. There's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of people on this boat who have already beat it. Right? It's never gonna just be an addiction channel. Obviously, in the beginning, it very much leans and centers towards addiction. But as we progress, there's going to be a lot of other things that have to come into play. And I think you'll be shocked as this thing takes shape. Some of the subject matters that we get into, all of them will very much have to, all of them will center on living your best life. One of the things that will be addressed, believe it or not, is things like once you can clear the slate of all of your problems concerning your addiction, once that's in the rearview mirror, all of a sudden there's a whole host of things that you have not had to deal with or chose to deal with for the duration of your addiction. Your finances, right? Seems like, what does this have to do with addiction? Once you're sober, you're going to find that, number one, you're not blowing every penny you have on a substance. I'm here to tell you, believe it or not, that you can live a pretty fantastic life by budgeting the amount of money that you make. I had to learn so many things, people. I literally had to learn from scratch. When you start doing dope at 14, right? When you start getting high at 14 and you don't stop, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're 31 years later and you get sober for the first time. There are so many things that you need to deal with that you have never dealt with before. This is just, some of it's so ridiculous that it's embarrassing to say, but I remember going to a washing machine and going, the hell is all of these buttons? And sounds stupid, right? I was a 46-year-old guy that had never done his own laundry. I mean, I would dump 3 bags off at places to have them cleaned. There were so many things that you don't have time to do laundry when you're out stealing all day long to support a heroin habit. When the hell am I going to do laundry? Right? I mean, finances? I don't worry about finances. There was no such thing as finances. If I had $1,000, that meant there was $1,000 worth of heroin. I just hadn't traded the paper for the dope yet. There was never, there really just wasn't that. And even when, there were phases in my life, people, where I made a lot of money. I was the president of a publicly traded company at one time. But even then, if it didn't matter what you paid me. If you paid me $300,000 a year, I was going to do $305,000 worth of drugs, right? Or $260,000 worth of drugs and barely make rent. I had a mortgage when I lived in Utah, and it was a miracle every single month that I could manage to pay the mortgage. And there were months that I made $20,000. But popping off $1,600 for rent doesn't get you high. Mortgage doesn't get you high. So as we start to go forward in this, people, there's going to be a lot of nuts and bolts stuff about living this is probably something I should stress too. There are going to be offshoots that happen from time to time. I will come on and talk to you in a live feed like this, and I will say something like, there is a video that is going to be getting posted, and it is very specifically for people who are trying to get their body back. If you spent 25 years drinking, and on top of drinking, you had a food an eating disorder or a food addiction, and you found yourself 125 or 145 or 255 pounds overweight, there's going to be a couple of videos about how to get your body back, about how to start actually working out. And I don't mean P90X. I'm talking about if you're 150 to 200 pounds overweight, you're not doing push-ups and pull-ups. You're not doing all of the things that you see. And it's so easy to see an infomercial and go, oh, I want to be that guy with the abs. And you want to go and buy this product because it's great marketing. They make you believe it. They show you guys that are 300 pounds, and in the next photo, he looks like the guy off the cover of Men's Journal. There needs to be baby steps and things like that. And there will be some videos put together. I've actually talked to some people that are going to be working on those, and they're not going to be something that I post like I do this. It's just going to be, I'm going to have it's not really the nuts and bolts and the bread and butter of what we do, but I think it's important that if there is an aspect of this illness, if there is an aspect of this thing that, I'm sorry, I'm being a wise guy, but if there's an aspect of this illness that has affected somebody in any way, then I most assuredly am going to try to figure out a way to address it. If it's not something that I am level down with skill with, then I'm going to find somebody that is, because I would like this eventually to be one-stop shopping for everything that you could need to live your best life. I'm sorry, but when you see I got sober after 27 years of that's just absolutely awesome. You see that go by and you think, that is so cool. Pleasure to see what you're doing. I'm not an addict, but I'm a father. You gotta love that. You have got to love that. Never chose drugs over alcohol. You know what? God bless you, man. The people that are here who are coming for no other reason than to support people. You guys are the salt of the earth. My God, man. What do you say to that? There you go. What do you say to that? tip of the hat. That's just, what a dream. Another thing, people, that I promise you I didn't see coming. You know, when if you just got here, look, this dream started in a prison cell, and I spent a lot of time in there. And when you've got 24 hours a day locked up in a box, you literally just fantasize about what it is you're going to do. And it's 4 or 5 hours a day of that. I mean, for a lot of people, it's 20 hours a day. I did a lot of reading, but when the lights go out and you can't read anymore, that was something that I thought about, and I would run through my head every single possible thing that could happen with this channel. I really did. I mean, I would take it out to the umpteenth degree of all of these different things. The two things that I never saw coming so far, I'm sure I'll get shocked again, but in all of the years that I sat and thought about it, the two things that I really never saw coming were how close I could get to everybody on the boat. I just did not. I always thought it would kind of be a me and you kind of a thing. Like, I would be doing my thing and you people would come and you'd listen and there would be some comments or whatever, but the level of friendship that I've been able to build with people that I haven't seen is astounding. I never saw it coming. That one blindsided me in a great way. The other thing that I did not see coming is the number of people that come here who are not addicts, who come here just because they would like to help support people. And obviously, look, if you're not a TV person, right? If you're not somebody that watches television and you're tired about what's on television, to come and hear somebody speak that doesn't curse and doesn't have a message of hate, it's getting to be difficult. It really is getting to be difficult to find. So I guess somewhere along the way, I should have probably assumed that there would be a couple of people that might show up who aren't addicts, parents or people that just want to come and learn from this so that they can raise a drug-free kid or any of that. But the number of people who are never been addicted to drugs or alcohol who are here supporting is absolutely astounding. And the good news is this, people, even if you're just here to support, so much of what we talk about it's life fix. It's not really, absolutely, it's, drugs are a focus, but you can get addicted to anything. If you don't believe that, people, then you really got to start understanding what's going on in the brain. When your brain starts to reward you for the things that you do, right? Not normal stuff, but when it starts to reward you for something abnormal, then addiction takes place. That's what happens. Right now, I think I told you, in South Korea, they're saying the number one addiction that's becoming like a massive problem for the entire country is video games. Video games. And for whatever reason, the drug that video games mimic closest in the brain to doing the exact same thing is cocaine. For whatever reason, if you put a couple of people on, what is it? Is it PET? Yeah, it's the PET scans, not cats. If you PET scan the brain and you watch people, through PET, and you got somebody abusing cocaine, doing a big line, smoking, whatever they're doing, and the parts of the brain that are lighting up and the chemicals that are getting released and all that, and then put them next to a guy that's playing video games, the same things are happening. You can get addicted to video games, and I know there's people listening to me who are. You probably don't find it, it's not something that jumps out at you as much, but if you knew the number of people I've talked to who said their girls left them because they were gamers. People, again, I'm an old man. I'm an old man, so there are things that I don't understand. I played Atari, right? I played Space Invaders and I played Pac-Man. But no matter how bad I was at any point in my life, I cannot imagine being able to walk away from somebody that I loved over a video game. I don't get it. Now, I know that people don't get walking away from someone you love for heroin, and I did it. I did it a lot. So I am most assuredly not Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man, which was considerably different. She had a bow in her hair. So I get it, sort of. I mean, I do get the addiction is the same thing. The video game thing, the first half of the addiction doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand how that, but it does. And they're getting better at making it more addicting. They're not stupid. The people that are designing this and the high-tech computers and things that are designing this are designed to keep you playing this game until your hands cramp and the batteries run out, right? They do have batteries on those controllers, don't they? Am I really stupid? I'm saying something dumb, aren't I? Anyway, if there aren't batteries, you understand. It's about, they really are engineering these things to get you to play them for unbelievable amounts of time. And, you know, you can be addicted to anything. So it doesn't matter whether or not you come on this boat just as a way to help out or just as a way to learn. Whatever the case may be, people, stick around. Because there are going to be fixes that you can learn that you can apply to your regular life. Just because you've never been addicted does not mean that you're not going to get stuff out of that. And along the same lines, as I was saying earlier, I wouldn't mind seeing, a couple of yoga videos up there. Yoga is something that most assuredly is an excellent tool for people who are in recovery. Now, I know people are going to jump on me and say that yoga is a religion. If you find yoga a religion, I would suggest that you don't do it. Right? You don't have to participate. I can do this, right, without calling it a sun salutation. I can do all of that. For me, it was a way to use balance and breathing and learning things that were really basic going forward. As amazing as it is, we never learned how to breathe. Right? You would think that that's a pretty basic thing since our body kind of forces us to do it. Sorry. So you would think that it's something that we do. We do not breathe correctly. There's a video that I've done on breathing. So I'm not going to get into it now. You can go back and watch it. But once you really start, pain sucks. Yeah, no pain. I'm sorry. Yeah, there are things that you can do with breathing and exercises that you can do with breathing that are essential. I touched on this the other night. When you start getting into a point where you're getting into an argument, and I don't mean, you said you were going to do the laundry. I'm talking about when you argue with somebody, your boss or anybody else, and that argument infringes upon you to the level that it almost gets fight or flight, where you can feel your heart rate start going and you start getting that emotional thing. What you will find out is that the brain, truthfully, the eyes allow us to see. They don't communicate to the brain in the way that you would think they do. So the brain is sitting in there and going, why is he breathing hard? What's going on? And literally starts thinking, oh, there's a fight coming, right? Something bad is about to happen. I'm going to give him chemicals to ensure that this fight works out. Panic attacks happen this way, people, right? Just a small chemical jump in the brain where your brain all of a sudden goes, uh-oh, something's wrong. Your brain over the years of evolution has gotten to the point where it says, all right, let's give it some chemicals so that if this fight takes place, my boy wins. We don't want Tommy losing. So they send all of these chemicals out. When they say take a deep breath, you're saying to your brain, I'm not running for my life, right? I'm not about to get into a fist fight. People, if you've ever gone off and squirted off from somebody, you don't go, right? That doesn't happen. So you take that deep, calming breath and your brain goes, oh, we're cool, right? You're going to stop your brain from releasing more of that chemical, and you can start the process back down. These are the kind of things that are nuts and bolts fixes that don't have anything to do with whether or not you're addicted to drugs or ever have been addicted to drugs. So in the future, people, don't get upset if you say, well, that video doesn't have anything to do with addiction. Please, let's not go down that road. I'm telling you right now, if I got 100 emails from people that say, whatever you do, don't talk about anything but addiction, I would probably go that route. No, it would take more than 100. But you know what I'm saying. If that's what the general consensus was. But people, this is about living your best life, right? It's about living your best life. If you are suffering from being overweight to the point where you can't get around and you can't move, I would like there to be some videos to help people in that position. So I'm going to get them. They don't have to go up as one of the 2 videos that we normally do. It'll probably be a supplement type of thing that I throw in there on a weekend, and it's just going to go into a playlist so that people who want to use those as a way to get in shape, I may do a couple of them with whoever the instructor is, because what is happening, people, whether you realize it or not, is we're getting something here, right? You're coming here every day and you're listening to Captain Tommy, and there's a level of respect and there's a level of caring that we're all sharing with one another. One of the things that makes it very difficult to buy one of those tapes and actually do it is that that person comes on and they look like Adonis, right? Or they look like, the bust of David, and you just look at them and go, oh man, are you kidding me? Could they have found somebody whose abs were just a little bit more chiseled to make me feel bad about myself? And there's that instant disconnect. It's like when you go to a gym, and what do? Every single wall on every single side is a mirror, right? That's great for you if you're 70 pounds overweight, right? Nothing makes you feel better than going in and looking in the mirror and going, great. And it's not just you looking at a body that you're probably not happy with. No, there's a guy next to you who's got a body you would be very happy with, right? And there's a guy to your right who's got a body that's even better. These are the kind of things that get in the way of people who want to go out there and actually turn their life around when it comes to staying in shape. So if you were to flick on that tape and it's Captain Tommy, right, saying, look, we're going to do this, and we're not going to do 600 push-ups. We're just going to get the ball rolling, people, right? We're going to get a little movement and, intermediate, beginning, intermediate, advanced, and we start walking it through the whole process. I have gotten enough emails from people who really have got some body issues in terms of image, and I've gotten enough emails from people who really are concerned about weight loss that it's something that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about it at length, but it isn't going to be one of the 2 videos that I put up as the daily lecture series or whatever it is that I do. The talking that we do every day. That is usually going to center very specifically on drugs, alcohol addiction. Did somebody just say, hey, wages? Mark, we're hoping that your daughter is doing well. I didn't see you, but if you're here, I told everybody what's up. Really looking forward to tomorrow night and seeing some of the magic that you've done for how the boat looks. Really looking forward to that. People, thoughts and prayers, right? We got Mark's daughter can use them all. And, it's one of the beautiful things we do. Hopefully you people read the comments section as much as just leaving comments. And you probably saw Chi-Chi had left a comment. The other night I said, it may be arrogant, but I do believe we had a hand in moving that storm. And I got a couple of emails from people that really chuckled about that. But Chi-Chi said, not a doubt in my mind. Not a doubt in my mind. It turned at the very last second. And people, great studies done, right? Go and look at them. Go look at numbers, at studies done for random number generators, where they get people to concentrate on certain numbers and the things that happen. We got to agree, people. We have to. I don't care what your beliefs are. There's a lot of stuff on this planet that we simply cannot explain, right? There is. So, as opposed to spending the rest of your life just being one of those people that sort of hates and doubts, just take a little time to put a little positive energy in the direction of the things that we talk about. What do you got to lose? Right? Has anyone ever said, on their deathbed, I wish I had been a little more negative. Life would have been so much better if I had just been a little bit of a crappier individual. Right? If I had hated a little more, I think I would have been so much more fulfilled. Right? It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But so oftentimes you almost have to take things to their final conclusion of just lunacy to get an idea of just how messed up some of the stuff that we do is. Right? People, live your best life, right? To do that, you're going to have to be happy. Good to see everybody. Mark, yeah, we will keep the prayers coming too. We will. Saigon Cinnamon. People, I love this guy. I really do. He is the number of ideas that this man has generated for the boat. Like I said, the first t-shirt that's coming out is the Saigon Cinnamon Special. He left a comment the other day about thinking of buying one. We got you on that one. Saigon. That one's on the captain. First one going out for sure. Couldn't be happier with the design. People, I know you didn't get a good look at it tonight, so if you have Facebook, I probably have invited you to come over to the Safe Harbor. If I have not, then go over there and ask me to invite you, and I'll do that. If we're not friends on Facebook, send me an email, and I will friend you. Once I get you friended, then we can get you into the group. You can see the design of the t-shirt. You can also meet everybody here. There's already people putting up pictures of their families. It's an opportunity for people for the boat to just get closer. And for those of you who say, man, I hate Facebook, not as much as I do. I promise you. People, if I liked Facebook, I would have said, hey, this is my Facebook. Let's all stop by and hang out. It's not what I'm doing, right? I'm trying to build a safe harbor so that if you hate Facebook, the features of Facebook are cool, right? It's just all the negative people there that stink. It's a very cool concept. Just like almost everything in social media, the concept is awesome, right? The Twitter concept is cool. It's just the execution. The problem with Twitter is everybody can use it. And the majority of people on this planet don't understand rule number 4, right? That's why this place is great. Everybody here understands rule number 4. Mean people suck. Sorry, right? That's rule number 4. I promise you at the harbor, I'm not putting up with anybody who is mean. Not having it. It's just so easy to get rid of them. Somebody sent me an email that said something about free speech. You know, occasionally people, you have to protect the boat. And if somebody is saying things so negative, look, there are times you just got to drop the hammer. I don't do it every day. I don't want to ever do it. But he said something about free speech. People, you will never meet anybody in the entire world that believes more in free speech than I do. Free speech is essential. And in this country, you have a right to free speech. However, I'm the captain of a boat. And once we get 2 miles outside from shore, I determine, that's it. And if that's something people are uncomfortable with, you can always start your own channel. There are people who have. And they drop F-bombs every 5 seconds, and I think it makes them happy. But around here, we treat each other with respect and dignity. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because you all do it. To be really honest, and I know people, we're in our infancy, but you think our moderators are working real hard in the comments section tonight? You think there's a lot that they've got to do to police this group? You guys are great. There's not much policing that's going on here on the boat. There really isn't. Free speech and not free attacks. Yeah, there is a huge difference. You don't have the right just to be a jerk. I mean, in America you do. You could be a jerk in America. We protect it. It's just not on this boat, right? Not here. Here we're not going to allow it. The beautiful thing is I don't think there are any left. I really don't. They'll come along. They will. It's like flies to honey, right? What we're doing here is so positive that there are people out there that are just going to hate it, right? It's kryptonite. For real, people. We're a flashlight. We're a flashlight in a dark place. And just as importantly, when the sun comes out in the morning, you're a mirror. This is something that I've talked about, people, and I promise you this is a fact. Quit doing drugs and then talk to the first person you run into from the life and watch what happens. When you say I'm sober, it's the same thing every time. Really good for you, man. Man, I am so proud of you. That is awesome. What made you quit? And it goes from, I'm proud of you, and you can hear the tone change. And by the end of it, it's, yeah, it ain't going to last. Seriously. Yeah, I quit all the time. And because what happens is at first they are happy for you. You're right. That's awesome. Good for you. And then within 2 seconds, the brain shifts into, I wonder why he's quitting. He has a drug problem. You think I got a drug problem? People, you quit anything. You get thinner. You do anything. You become a mirror. When you walk up to the people who are still in the life or not living the life that they want, they don't see you. They see a reflection back of themselves. And it makes them really, really uncomfortable. Oh, I'm so glad that we got a chance to bring this up because this is something that just clicked. Another great email. People, if you have a question for me that isn't really of a personal nature, you can email me. I don't care. I answer emails. I love it. But there are some of them that are so good that it really would be better if they were in the comments section so that everybody can sort of hear what's you're asking, and that people can then weigh in on these things. But there was somebody that said that he's sober. He just recently got sober, actually, since finding the boat. He said, but the problem is that he's got friends that are still in the life. These people are drug users, and he's not sure. Words mean things. Flamin' Jackson, I love it. But he said he's not exactly sure, how to deal with these people because, he doesn't want to put his sobriety in jeopardy and, this or that. And the final question was, do I have to have these people out of my life? People, that's a question that you have to answer for yourself. It's not one that Captain Tommy can answer for you. I can tell you about me. I can absolutely tell you about me. I am not going to throw somebody out of my life permanently because they do drugs. I will never be alone with them. Ever. It's never going to happen. It won't. It's not going to happen. I'm also not going to have them in my house if I'm going to be alone with them. I don't invite people with drugs on them to my house. I don't. And that's me. Doesn't mean you can't, and the longer you're sober, maybe that's something that can work out for you. I wouldn't go to a party where people are doing lines out in public. I don't, it's just not something that where I'm at in my life, right? I'm a person that believes in God. Aside from that, if I wasn't, are my actions making me closer to love, or are they making me closer to hate? And I'll be honest with you, my experience with drugs has been such that anywhere where drugs are being done in public, out in the open, love is not the prevailing emotion that is going on around that. It's not. It's never been healthy, and I don't need to be near it. Now, if as a caveat to that, almost a loophole. No, loophole is not what I'm calling for. Anyway, as a caveat, if by some chance the person that you are talking about does not accept the fact that that you're comfortable with that, then you get them out of your life. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you straight away, you get them out of your life. Anybody that wants to pressure you, anybody that wants to question your motives, anybody that wants to be that person to help drag you down, cut them out like cancer and get them out of your life. Sorry, may sound horrible, but may sound like someone else who once said the only thing you have to worry about is yourself. It's not. You reach out to people who need help, but people that want to drag you down, yeah, get the hell away from them. There's no reason to have anybody that wants to do you harm, get them out of your life. Anybody that needs a hand up, you don't have to. That's completely up to you and in your sobriety. As for me, I'm putting my hand out to anybody that needs it. You know why? Because I've been there. Because I spent 25 or 30 years of my life going to bed a drug addict and waking up a drug addict. If I can stop that from happening to somebody, and I don't, what kind of person am I? Really? I don't know. As for me, I'm going to help every single person I possibly can who has a problem with drugs, alcohol, or a habit that they can't break. I think it's something that if you've never shot heroin, I don't think you can imagine the feeling, and you shouldn't. But it's a syringe, people, and there's a rubber stopper, and when the rubber hits the very bottom of the inside of that tube, and the last of the drug goes into your vein, the amount of peace that you feel doesn't compare to very much on this planet. It gets rid of every single thing in your brain that feels negative. And in my lifetime, the only thing that has ever felt that good is hearing somebody say that I helped get them sober. For real. It's now my drug of choice. When I read Andrew Eats comments and he says that his kids say they love their new dad, I ain't never been doped that good. I promise you. So if that's threatening my sobriety, let's do it. I'll roll the dice for that feeling. I will. I'll take that chance. It's pretty good stuff. I won't lie to you, people. When the emails are incredible and somebody says something that's just takes my breath away, I print it out, hard copy. I don't know if people don't do that anymore, but I print them out. I'm saving them, because on those days that this is just not fun, and I promise you, people, if you do 90 videos in 40 days, there are going to be days you don't really feel like doing this. Like eating foul fish. That was fun. At least the build-up was fun. But on those days that you really don't want to do it, and those days that you just don't feel like doing it, you open that folder and start reading through some of the comments of people that say, if I didn't find this boat, I'd still be using dope. Whew. If that doesn't light you up, well then run your channel different. But it lights me up. I'm not ashamed to say it. I get a buzz. I get a buzz out of it. It's the greatest high I've ever had, and I've jumped out of airplanes. I was an extreme skier, jumped 105 feet off a cliff with skis on, routinely. Nothing has ever felt this good. I'm going to continue to do it. It's why I end each video now with go out and save somebody. You ain't got to drag them out of an alley. You just got to drag them to the boat, right? Let them see what a couple of hundred people who want you to succeed feels like. What it feels like to have a group of people who all say, hey, I love you, I'm here for you, right? How about just having a group of people where a guy can say to another guy, I love you, without somebody cracking a joke? Or I can say to a woman, hey, I love you, I'm so glad you're here, without people going, oh, he's hitting on her. We're in a very unique place. If it has not occurred to you yet, it will. This is a very unique place. And this is a very, very unique group of people, right? I mean, whew, You people are at the top of the food chain in terms of just positive energy in a sea of this is it. So, and I'll tell you, people, I'm not sure that I could say anything today that is going to hammer home what we're doing here any more than what I just said. So I'm probably going to wrap it up on that note. Besides, they're starting to talk about Vegemite in the comment section, and it has been my experience that when people start talking about Vegemite in the comment section, then you've just been on the air too long. Oh, I'm sorry, I cannot eat that stuff. It's just, I don't know if you ever had Vegemite. I think it should be a challenge. I mean, for real. I think the only thing nastier in the world, like maybe if you put Vegemite on Systroming, but my goodness, Vegemite. Ugh. And I think I was talking to someone from Australia. It might have been Fiona. We were messaging back and forth, and I said I was picking on the country. I said, a country that eats Vegemite, and she said, "How did you not like Vegemite? How did you eat it?" Look, I didn't eat it. It's not fit for consumption. I just tasted it. And she said, "Well, how did you do it?" I said, "I took a spoon. I put a little spoon in there, and apparently." You can't eat Vegemite off a spoon. I was lectured on the fact that number one, this is not the right way to eat Vegemite, and that I was making a serious error. So I pointed out that if you take any other spread that you could put on bread and you just sort of take a little bit on a spoon and eat it, it's not going to be foul. I think of peanut butter, right, or jelly, or marmalade, or jam. Jams are tasty. Doesn't matter if you just eat them with a spoon, right? Anything else, even a little bit of butter on a spoon. It's not going to kill you, right? Not too bad. Take that Vegemite. Give that a try on the spoon. Nope, not going to do it. In fact, I really do believe it should be a challenge. Okay, people. I think we've been here long enough, don't you? Besides, you all need to get some sleep, because tomorrow night, right here on the lifeboat, will be Mr. Mark Wages. I'm glad that you all had an opportunity to come here tonight so I could build a little bit more. I wish that his daughter was feeling better so that we could have done it tonight. But you know what, people? This is pretty cool. The live feeds are great. I think it's something that everybody enjoys. I'm having a ball. I'll tell you what, next time I'm going to prepare for it, and it might be a little bit better. This one came as kind of a shock, so we went without a net this time a little bit, people, but I think all things considering, we did okay. I appreciate your patience with me, as since I didn't have a lesson plan of sorts, I appreciate you letting me kind of jump all over the place, but this is fun. People, there's not going to be anything down here, so don't worry about it. I am Tommy Scoville. This is the lifeboat, and you are the greatest crew anywhere on the net. Forget YouTube. Anywhere on the net. Perhaps anywhere on the planet. So, thank you so much for letting me be your captain. And thank you so much for letting me use this boat to do the things that I really want to do in this world. And for being such a huge part of it. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. My partner in crime. Man, maybe that's the wrong choice of words. My partner in this venture is going to be coming here, and I'm really looking forward to you hearing his story. So, thank you. Good night, everybody. Let's see. Everyone, good night. Mr. Jackson, Charlie Mullins, good night. Saigon Cinnamon, good night. Filthy Phoenix, Ethan Walters, good night. I'll tell you what, people, what a crew. I know Beth I saw Anna, I think I saw Raven. To all of you, you Grizzly Heat. There you go. What's up, Grizz? Fee is still here. Fantastic. Stacy. Virginia. Backdraft. Alan Ballantyne, my brother. God, I love Alan. Kevin. Love Kevin, too. Chris. Nice, Chris. Chris, good to see you, man. Really good to see you. I am glad you're here, man. I cannot tell you how happy I am that you're here. Good dude. All right, people, now for real. At this point, I'll probably just walk out and let you people continue to talk, because I don't know how to turn this off. I'm kidding. I think I got it. Good night, everybody. I am the captain, or maybe not. Oh, how you doing? Perhaps they think I'm doing that. Bye-bye.